Any question? Just raise your hand and say, Luca, please start talking. I have a myself, and then we can immediately start with the questions. Is that okay?
Okay. My name is Surendra Punwala.
I will start with my question. And my question is, can you please tell me who is very fluent in Nepalese and very fluent in English? And so just for me to understand who can translate when I need to provide free legal aid to somebody who is from Nepal, it would be great to have an interpreter and translator. But maybe it's not necessary. So actually, Mr. Sunil asked me if I can say something about changes of the law on foreigners if they are currently in the public consultations. It's long from them being adopted, so what I prepared as a bit presentation about residence and work permit, this is based on the questions that we get when we are providing free legal aid, free legal counseling from people coming here from all different countries, not only from Nepal, but from India, from Philippines, from Turkey. So this is a short presentation that I prepared. If I'm going to speak too much, I'm not sure how much time I have. Stop me. Okay. So can you go to the next slide? So the first, when we're talking about residence and work permits, we are talking about one specific law. This is law on foreigners, Zakon o strancima on Croatian. And this is where you have all the information on how the residence and work permit is governed, how the procedure goes, at what time you should apply for extension of the work permit, and all the other information. What we currently have is amendments to the law on foreigners that I'm going to present to you. The amendments have entered the public consultation. So this is a forum, e-consultation, where everyone can provide their comments on the amendments. So they see the amendment and they can say, oh, this is bad or this is good. And this public consultation opened on 28th of February and will last until 14th of March. So next week they will close. After that, there will be a refinement of the amendments based on the comments from the citizen, and then it's going to be entered in the official procedure in the Croatian Parliament, Hrvatski Sabor, where they will discuss all these amendments and finally adopt the new changes to the law. One side note only is that the Croatian Parliament will dissolve on 14th March also. So next week, I believe, meaning that, yes, we have a super election year. We'll have election for the national parliament, election for the European Parliament. So this law will probably be adopted when the next Croatian Parliament is going to, again, be selected and elected. Okay, so first, how I imagined to present this is to talk a bit about permit for seasonal work, then about normal procedure, and talk a bit of nuances that we have in each and every category. Can you go to next? Slide. Yeah. So, seasonal work. Seasonal work in Croatia is heavily influenced by the European regulation, by the directive. So, European directive is very, providing the framework how it works in Croatia. And you probably know seasonal work can be only in these sectors: agriculture and forestry, and tourism and catering. It is usually for jobs that are on our coastline. And currently how it is regulated is that the validity period of residence permit can be up to 6 months, but it can also be up to 90 days, in which case there will be no need for additional bureaucratic requirements like labor market test or obligation to get a physical card. And you can extend it one time, again, the latest 15 days before the expiration of the residence and stay permit. And now we have this phrase, which is very important when we're talking about law, is that if the extension request has been submitted within the validity period of your permit, then you can stay in Croatia until the decision on the extension of the permit has been adopted by the Ministry of Interior. So this is very, very important. Can you go to the next slide? Now, for seasonal work, this is the most important part. That seasonal worker based on residence and work permit for seasonal work can work in Croatia for a maximum of 6 months in 1 year period, after which he or she must leave the Republic of Croatia. This is a literal provision from the law. Now, the changes to the law, if you can go to the next slide, anticipate that this maximum validity period will not be 6 months, but now it's going to be 9 months. So a seasonal worker can work 9 months in Croatia up to a year. And again, there is a little bit explanation on under which conditions can person still have a regular stay in Croatia. And this is again, if a person applies for a temporary residence permit or a permit for residence work that is not for the purpose of seasonal employment before the expiration of the permit. For the purpose of seasonal employment, in which case a third country national may remain in the Republic of Croatia until the decision of the request becomes enforceable. What does it mean? If you provide a request for extension after your permit has expired, then there are legal complications involved. Penalties and maybe possibility that you will not be able to extend the permit or get the new permit. This is very, very important to understand what are the deadlines that you have when you're talking about how you regulate the stay in Croatia. If you can go further. Now, residence and work permit, it's a bit, so the seasonal work is a subspecialty of residence and work permit. So residence and work permit is for all the jobs. Seasonal work is a specialty selected sector. And so what I wanted to stress out here, because I often see questions where this is not understood, is that permit is linked to the job. It's not that you can first get a permit and then look for a job. And so employment offer of employment is necessary to apply for the residence and work permit. Residence and work permit is based on and depend on this work contract. So, and the validity period of your permit matches the term of your work contract up to a maximum of 1 year. Now, the current law on foreigners does not recognize that unemployed people can have a valid work permit. So if you're unemployed, then it means that you don't have a regular stay in Croatia. And again, so when we're talking about the permit, if the work contract is terminated for whatever reason, then the residence and work permit will be terminated within 15 days, or in certain cases, unidentified number of days, because this is again bureaucratic issue that is not very specifically regulated in the law. But it is the most important thing to take out of this is that you always take care of the deadlines. You have to know when your permit starts, when your permit ends, and when you have to apply for extension, and when you have to nudge your employer or find a new employer who will extend the permit or who will apply for issuing a new permit. So this is what I want you to take out of this. If you can go to the next slide. What are the proposed changes to the law? Again, these changes are not adopted. These changes are now in a proposal phase. The validity period of the residence stay permit matches the term of work contract, but up to 3 years. So if we are lucky and this passes from 1st of January 2025 probably, the permit will last up to 3 years. Then what is also introduced is an allowed unemployed time period or a grace period. So within the validity period of residence and work permit, you become unemployed. That is okay. Days, you're okay. But after 60 days, residence and work permit will be terminated. More than 60 days, then residence and stay permit is terminated. So these are the proposed changes to the law. Can you go forward? What also the proposed changes anticipate are certain specific phases and specific procedures for changing the employer, changing the profession within the same employer, changing profession to the profession that is a deficit profession, so that is another list of the Croatian Employment Service, that where Croatian workers, there are not enough Croatian workers to work in those professions. So I just wrote it here. I will not maybe read it everything, but just for you to have it. If is it possible, and if you have the context of everyone, I will share the presentation so you can all have a look at it. Can you go to the next slide? So again, extending the residence and stay permit, same employer, same profession, the latest 30 days before the expiration of the residence stay permit. If you don't do it in the 30 days, but if you do it 3 days before your permit has been expired, you will need to pay a fine, but you will still be able to extend it. But if you try to apply after your permit has been expired, then again, legal complications, and it is not a good position to be in. Okay, maybe you can go forward. Yes.
Can you go in front?
Here? Can you go back?
These are the proposed laws you want to put in the audit.
So no, this here is currently part of the law on foreigners. This
Has been amended.
no. So this is how it is currently. Amendments are in a proposal phase. Amendments are currently in, proposal. It's not adopted.
So this is not adopted right now.
No, this is.
This is adopted.
Yes, this is.
Because I see the value that is actually less for the people. How people, because they don't know the language. So
Yes.
the 30 days should be 60 days or something. You can put 60 or 90 days.
But this is actually, so this is the latest. This means that 30 days before your permit has been, it is expiring.
Still, you don't know when your boss is going to expire. No one knows. There are a lot of
As per the law, you have 15 days.
we have out on that.
Exactly.
Yeah, say that for 90 days.
Currently, the law is in public consultation, meaning you can go on e-savjetovanje, find that law. I can maybe write articles, which are exactly this, and you can comment, this is too short period. This is what happens when, because of this.
There is some signaturing or something that, like campaigning, every people can do that for.
We will send it. What I can also do is the proposal of amendment. So we will, the proposal of our comments, we will submit it on Tuesday. We can send it to you, and you can like it in this portal. I can provide it maybe to my emails, a couple of you, and then you can share it. Okay. So maybe go forward. Just this is also a question that I got. What happens if I leave Croatia? Do we have time? Okay. So this is just what happens if I leave from Croatia. So cancellation of residence permits will happen in case of being absent from Croatia more than 30 days on one occasion, or more than 90 days on several occasions. However, in the period of the validity of the residence permit, which is currently up to 1 year. However, there are justified reasons which you need to explain before being absent to Ministry of Interior, or if those justified reasons occur after you went away, in Austria, in Serbia, wherever, then you find the nearest Croatian embassy and go there and say, okay, this is what happened, I can't go back to Croatia. Otherwise, there's a possibility that the residence permit will be cancelled. Okay, here we go forward. And then, this is just something that I really wanted to stress out. There is a specific provision in the law on foreigners which says who is considered a person who has an irregular stay. So that you don't have a stay which is regulated either under the temporary residence, under the short-term stay, under the permanent residence, so far. And it's a very long list. So they managed to mention every and each situation. Third country national resides irregularly if he or she is not on short-term stay, does not have a valid permit or temporary residence, does not have the right to legal residence in accordance with the regulation governing international protection. Can you go on for next to this page? And a list goes on and on. If you don't need visa to enter Croatia, who submits a request for temporary residence before the expiration of the short-term stay. If you need a visa to enter, so it's a very, very specifically mentioned who is considered an irregular stay. Why I'm mentioning this? This is very complicated. For this, it is important to, if you get legal complications, to find somebody who provides legal counseling, find a lawyer if you think it's necessary. Okay, first it's expected from you to leave Republic of Croatia. This is called period, which is usually a decision. Okay, you need to go within 30 days. You need to go within 15 days. And there's a second option, deportation, where there's a forced removal when you're here for a longer period of time and they decide to deport you. And again, when you agree to termination, so when you sign a document to terminate your work contract, then this is resolved, the cancellation of the permit, just by making a note in your case file. So the Ministry of Interior just makes a note. And then, this is again what happens in case of legal complications. Best way forward is to hire a lawyer. This is the portal where you can find a lawyer who speaks English language or speaks other languages that you speak. And I just wanted to stress out the difference between the legal aid. So we have primary legal aid. Primary legal aid involves legal counseling. So just legal counseling only. This is what I can do, provide legal advice. But I cannot represent someone in front of the court. This is the only one who can do it is a lawyer, who can go in front of the court and submit a lawsuit, who can do specific court actions. And I will just finish on the last slide. You can go forward. There's also an option for free legal representation in the law on foreigners, and it's a very complicated one. So if you are issued a decision on return, if you're issued a decision that you have to leave within 30 days, or that you, in any case, somebody tells you you need to leave, and if you were here in Croatia continuously for at least 1 year, and there are other conditions as well, then you can maybe apply for a free legal lawyer, provided that you don't have sufficient funds to hire a lawyer yourself. And this is it. This is something like, if you can go forward just to see, yes. This is my name, organization number, and email. If you need any, if you have any information or question. For now, this is everything that I prepared. What I only wanted now to leave is a possibility for you to maybe say a few questions. Maybe we can take 3 questions.
Yes. Then DRC also will be cancelled.
So as it is now written in the law, yes.
Okay, that was a question.
Put the light on. Light on.
If there are no questions, what I will do is share a paper and pen, and you are free to just write the question on this paper, just for me to know for my future coming here or coming anywhere else, so I know what interests you. Is that okay? So I'll just on it as a question or comment. Hopefully you understood me. Can you raise your hand if you understood me? Okay, the next time I will try to engage like an interpreter who speaks Nepali language. so you can understand. Thank you very much, and thank you very much.
So much, Mr. Kakos, for your valuable and wonderful space, and we are really appreciate. अब भने